Hello everyone, welcome back to our class. And in this learning video today, I'm going to explain to you um, a little bit about our course, what extensive listening is. And it is hoped that by watching this video, you will know and you will get a picture about our course, and also you will motivate you to actually join the class. And um, be advised that we also have assignment that you need to complete. Yeah. And therefore, let's just go directly to what extensive learning is. Okay. So basically, the definitions of extensive listening can be understood by looking at the definitions given by Yvonne and Renandia, 2019. It says that extensive learning um, is a language teaching and learning approach. So this is an approach, for those of you who have learned what approach is, it's going to be easy for you to understand that. So it's an approach that encourages language learners to be exposed to a large amount of easily comprehensible. So it should be a large amount, or means like many, lots of, and easily comprehensible. So it should be easy, and enjoyable materials. Enjoyable. Okay. So the materials in extensive learning should be large amount, means a lot, and also easily comprehensible. So if the material is very difficult or even quite difficult, so that is not extensive listening. Okay. And presented in the target language. Yeah. So if you are doing extensive learning for English class, so it should be in English. It shouldn't be in Bahasa Indonesia. Okay. And also over an extended period. Okay. Extended period. So it's like the time is long. It's like not you cannot think doing extensive learning for only 1 or 2 days, or maybe for 1 or 2 months. It should be very long. Yeah. Probably at least 3 months, probably, even though there is no um, agreement within the time length so far. But so what we can understand about extensive learning, it should be about an approach that provide a chance for the learners to be exposed to large amount and easily comprehensible and also enjoyable materials. Okay, that is presented in the target language, that what you want to learn, over an extended periods, or over let's say if we use the length of time that I just told to you, over at least 3 months, for example. Okay, so this is not an instant teaching method or approach that you want to give to your students. Okay, right. And the origin ideas, okay, or the reason behind this approach, at least we can find three reasons. Okay, first of all, extensive learning is like inspired by the success story of extensive reading. Okay, and some people say this is the twin brother or twin sister of extensive reading, or reading for pleasure, where students are exposed to a large amount of reading materials that they what is it that are easy, interesting, and over like long period of time. Okay. And because in the language competence, it's not only about your, the competence of communicating or understanding a communication means by reading, but also um, for listening. Therefore, um, it is also, what is it like, the inspirations to why not we try to do the same idea for listening. And that's the reason that extensive listening uh, is originally inspired by. Okay. And second of all, yeah, because listening is fast, yeah, compared to reading, listening is relatively fast. Variably, it's like too many variations, not only in terms of the content, speed, but also in terms of what is it like, the speaking style and many other things. Okay. And this is the most important thing. When you read something and you don't understand it, you can actually reread it again, okay, until you get the point. But for listening, well, mostly it's not like that. It's like you need to process the information the moment when the speaker is saying something, okay, and you cannot actually repeat it, yeah, in the real process, or when you are having a situation where you are listening to somebody who is saying to you, you cannot actually repeat it unless you ask, for example. But then it will be more even rigid if it comes to, let's say, a test or an assignment, when you are sitting in a classroom listening to an audio materials given by your teachers, yeah, then after the audio is played, usually there is no second chance for you to listen again. Very different in nature from reading. And you miss something, for example, there is a reading task and you miss, you don't really understand about one of the questions or one of the passage, one of the sentence within the passage of the questions given, but you can just reread it, okay? But for listening, you need to process it the moment when it is said, okay? Therefore, it's really challenging. And one of the idea to make extensive listening uh, also be given to the student. And the third of all, yeah, this is also the nature of listening. Many sentences that are constructed using ellipses or incomplete, because it's like should be understood not only based on not only for the one who listen, yeah, sorry, not only for the one who say it, but also for the one who listen to it. Okay. What I mean by the one who say it is the audio, if it is audio recording materials. Okay. And therefore, listening is so challenging, and therefore we need to make students get chance to be exposed to the listening as many as what is it as much as possible even, and also very different from intensive listening. Extensive listening is what is it like, the previous definition, more on the number of exposure, okay, but then it should be easy, okay, and it should be what is it like, long in time. It should not be expected that you do it today, then tomorrow you will master it. No, that's not the idea. Okay, good. And then if extensive listening can be beneficial for students, then what are the beneficials, or what can the students gain from the extensive learning itself? Well, here I can actually name at least five benefits that the students can get. Okay, first of all, it should be motivating, because when we understand extensive listening as something easy, right, then the student should be able to comprehend the informations. Because if the listening materials that the students get is difficult, okay, so then it's not going to be able to be comprehended. And therefore, listen to something easy that is variable in terms of topics, for example. It can be motivating as well. And the next one is, better understanding. It's like, even though the content can be various because the students can listen to as many materials as possible, but the level of grammar, for example, or structures, or the language compositions uh, should be easily understood by the students, and therefore then the students can understand it. But then it become interesting because even though it's easy in terms of the language, but the topic could be different. Okay, so listening to something different every time will actually motivate you to understand, or motivate the students to know what it is, and therefore it's going to be easy for understanding. And maybe this is what I have forgotten to explain to you. When we understand extensive listening as something that should be interesting for the students, then one of the characteristic of this approach is also about independently select material. So it isn't supposed to be 100% that the teacher chooses the material, but the students have to choose the materials by themselves, because the one who know which one is interested and which one is not is the students itself. Okay, and therefore in here, okay, or in this kind of class, what you're going to do is more like self-independent study. Okay, even though we have regular activity through Google Classroom or through our classroom, but then the responsibility lies more on your own self. Okay, on your own ability to find materials, and also to try to listen to that materials, and also if it is possible to summary that material, so that the teachers in the classroom can only just give you like guidance whether you are already in the right track or not, or maybe give some listening what is it, like listening activity or listening audio, and then you work on that listening audio. But that is not just limit you to only wait for your teacher. Instead, what you need to do is you need to do it by your own self. Find as many materials as possible, and then listen as much as possible, and also write a summary and try to understand that. So it's like you just try to get yourself exposed, yeah, to the language, or to the listening or audio recording as frequently as possible as well. Okay, and the next one, it might develop your fluency and automaticity. Okay, because listening to something easy, where the grammatical and structure elements are easily recognized, so then it's also going to make you easy to recognize the informations or the listening material itself. And also usually it has easy chunks, yeah, so that the speaker within the audio will not actually talk will not actually talk using complicated structure, sometimes only easily understandable chunks. Okay, and when you do it again and again and again, then you will be fluent in listening to the listening materials. Okay, and because sometimes when you listen to one pattern, you keep listening to it. Okay, so then you will have that kind of automatic skill in understanding the chunks, or understanding the information given through that listening listening mode. Okay, and of course the next one, it's going to be about the comprehension. Yeah, so it will improve and boost your comprehensions skill as well. Yeah, so it's like when you listen to something and you get used to it, and probably next time you want to listen to something that is quite or a little more difficult. Okay, and then you try to understand it, and then once you are success in understanding that a little more difficult materials, for example, then you can actually try to find something else again. So uh, that's one of the reason why it will be about improving your comprehensions. Okay, and even when you listen to the same materials all the time, your comprehension is believed will be increased as well. And the next one, because it is you who choose, then extensive listening should be flexible. Okay, yeah, should be flexible. So it's like you are allowed to do it anywhere, anytime, or what you want. It's like it is not limited in the classroom activities. You can do it outside of the classroom. Let's say when you were hanging out with your friends and then you want to listen to one of the materials using your handphone or your gadgets. Is it from, be it from YouTube or be it from a special website that are free you can listen to, or maybe let's say from BBC or other source of uh, information where language or when English are used, then that is extensive learning activity. Yeah. So if extensive learning activity is set as what is it as learning, so then your learning can be done anywhere, not only in the classroom. Okay, and therefore, if you do it slowly but sure, then your learning will improve. Yeah, not only your learning in the classroom, which is learning from the teacher or learning with the teachers or learning with friends, but also your independent learning. Okay, because when you choose the material by your own selves and then you study by your own self and then you try to understand by your own self and then you keep your discipline to always listen to as many as possible informations or audio recordings or listening by your own self, then you are going to be you will get used to it, and you will have skill of independent learning that is improved. Okay, so these are the benefits of extensive listening if you do it. Yeah, so just do it. Then you don't need to be, what is it like, to be so much like, for example, you expect that your progress is going to be should be fast. No, that not like that. But what you need to do is just do it again and again and again and again until at some point when you realize that you are a better listener or a better English listener, or you have a better listening skill. Okay, good. But then, yeah, even though this is not really directly related to our meeting today, but it's also important as to understand why actually, for example, extensive listening is not yet widely adopted. Well, actually, there are four reasons at least. First of all, probably teachers are not really familiar with this kind of approach. Yeah, what they know is listening should be about comprehension, or maybe like teaching is just only in the classroom or something like that, or maybe when there is no teacher present, so that it is not learning, something like that. Yeah. Maybe people are not really familiar with this. And second of all, yeah, but I don't know if this kind of reason is still still applies today, because long ago people said that it is very difficult to find materials for teaching English because the sources are so limited. But today, with the disruption information created by as in the impact of technology development, it is very easy for us to find many materials that are free. Sometimes we pay, but the payment is so cheap, yeah, through the internet, and therefore it's really applicable. But still, maybe for some people, the condition is not really so. But then this is one of the reason why it's not yet adopted. And second of all, yeah, sorry, this is the third one is the result is not immediate. Yeah, it's like very different from from when you teach grammar. Okay, let's say you are a teacher, you come into the classroom and then you teach grammar. After you teach the grammar, then the students will understand and will see that, oh, my students has improved, for example, has been improved, or their grammar ability is no longer in the same at the same positions, but they are getting better and better, and you can see it directly. It's like after you teach them. But for listening, especially the extensive listening, well, it's not going to be like that. Okay, it's like a long-term investment, right? It's like you have to teach it today, tomorrow, and you ask your students to do it also, like outside of the classroom after you have completed your activity in the classroom, and the day after day, months after months, or maybe a year or years after years, until finally the students realize, well, my listening are getting better, so that they realize, oh, they know that they can listen to English better now because they get used to it. Okay, so this is probably also one of the reasons. And the last one, probably because, yeah, it's a kind of, what is it, like self learning activity, and also it sorry, demands the students to be so independent in learning. If they are not really independent, as not many people are independent, as not everybody is the same, and therefore it's going to be a bit difficult for the students who are not really typical of students who can learn independently to use these materials. And therefore, as I explained to you before, the teachers also need to guide the students. So um, even though they cannot actually learn, what is it, even though they do it or they learn it independently outside of the classroom, but then the teachers can also control them by control it by giving by doing the activity in the classroom, so that that activity can be like a guidance for them in doing their, what is it, like independent learning outside of the classroom. Okay, good. Okay, so here are some materials, but not limited to. I mean, you can actually find materials from any websites or anywhere that you want, right? But by checking maybe each of these websites, you're gonna be able to find some materials that mostly are free. That can improve your listening activity, and you use listening skill, and you can choose and pick any topic that you want based on your interest, right? Okay, so I hope you visit each of these website and try to learn from it and expose yourself to this to the materials given freely here, so that through time your listening skill will be improved. Okay, and this is the source of my presentation today. Yeah, if you want to go and check further, you can actually read. There is an article written by Yvonne and Renandia, yeah, with the title Extensive Listening and Viewing in ELT. Okay, so um, that's the sources. Yeah, okay, I think that's all for our meeting today. Yeah, and you've got to check our Google Classroom as well, because yeah, probably I've got more informations there. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye bye.